get started here in just a moment. So today I may use 2 blocks, but we're actually gonna possibly do some poses where we might normally use a block. We might try to not use the block. For an example, instead of placing your hand on the block, you might try to just use your finger pads on the floor. So again, if you have blocks, great. If not, I'm gonna try to remember to cue without them as much as we can. We're going to do about 30 to 40 minutes of vinyasa, and then we'll end with the last 30 minutes of yin. So if we haven't met, I'm Jennifer Elliott, and welcome to VinYin, Vinyasa and Yin. Okay, so we'll get started. So let's find our way onto our backs, and we don't need any props for this. You can just find your way onto your back, knees bent, let the knees fall into one another, open the arms out to the sides, palms up. Just take a few moments. Just a few moments to get into the body, get into this space. And observe the breath. So notice the belly rise and fall with the breath, just a natural breath. And see if you are spending more time on the inhale or the exhale. And let's take a nice big inhale through the nose. Hold at the top. Open the mouth, let it out. And again, in through the nose. Hold at the top. Open the mouth and let it out. In through the nose. Hold. Sip a bit more breath in through the nose. Sip a bit more breath in. Open the mouth and let it out. Then an inhale through the nose. And an exhale back out the nose. Allow your breath to find its own pattern. Maybe blink the eyes open. And we're going to cross the elbows in front of one another, elbow in front of elbow, maybe palms meet. So eagle arms. If this feels extreme right now, then just simply give yourself a hug. Just wrap those arms around the chest. But otherwise, find your eagle arms, your Garudasana arms. A couple of breaths here. Observe which arm is on top, and we'll go ahead and switch it so the other arm is on top. Either your eagle arms or just simply wrap your arms around your chest and give yourself a hug. Gently release the arms and then cross your right leg over your left. Lift your left foot off the ground and think eagle legs. So you can just cross knee over knee, or some of you might tuck that foot under the calf, just whatever feels most comfortable in the knees. Interlace your hands under your head like a sit-up. Pick your shoulders up, take an inhale. Exhale, curl the heart and the knees together, peel the hips up without momentum. Inhale, lower the chest, tap the toes down. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, let it go. Continue on your own. Exhale and inhale. And move this slow. It's not really about a sit-up, more about connecting breath and movement. So when your breath stops, movement stops. So if you're moving very fast, you know you're hardly breathing. So start to lengthen your breath. We can even consider this pose of vinyasa as we're linking breath and movement. Let's do about 5 more on your own, slow and controlled. All right, one more. the legs for now. Set your left foot on the floor, but just keep your legs crossed at the knees. Pick your hips up, shimmy them right, and then drop these bound knees to the left. So it's a nice bound twist. If this feels too much for you, then just stack your knees in a more traditional twist. Gradually come back to center. And when you do, just pull your right knee into your chest and straighten the left leg out on the floor. Ekapada Apanasana. You can take a moment to resist the right shin up into the hands. Soften through the jaw. And then raise the left foot off the floor just about an inch. You can drive through the heel. Direct your pubic bone to the navel till you feel the low back anchor. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl forehead up to meet the knee. Breathe. And then see if you can release the hands, but not necessary. Reaching towards that front foot. Hold back onto the shin if you were there. Lower the head, lower the heel. Then you can straighten up the right leg, just interlace behind, point, flex, rotate, whatever you'd like. Maybe pull the leg in a little closer. Okay, we'll do all that on side two. So set your feet down, knees bent. Cross left leg over right like you're crossing your legs. Pick up your right foot, maybe double cross foot under calf. Think eagle legs, but don't force it. Hands under the head like a sit-up. Lift up through the shoulders. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl, heart and knees together. Peel the hips up without momentum. Inhale, relax. Exhale, curl. Inhale, uncurl. Continue with your breath. We've got about 5 more here. Slow and with control. One more. Okay, keep your knees together, but you can undo your calf if you had that second bind. Shimmy your hips to the left, drop your knees to the right, a nice bound twist. If this is too much, again, just stack the knees in a more traditional twist. Gradually unwind, come back to center. You can pull the left knee into your chest, straighten the right leg out on the floor, Ekapada Apanasana. Both feet are flexed, and as you interlace the hands on the left shin, just gently press that left shin up into the hands. Soften the jaw on the face. You can let the right leg float up about an inch. You might feel a natural pocket of space under your lower back. See if you can direct your pubic bone to the navel until you gently stamp that down. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl, forehead to knee. Breathe. You can stay here, but see if you can reach your fingertips beyond that leg or towards the front foot. Hold on to the shin. If you weren't, lower the head, lower the heel. Interlace behind the left leg, straighten it up. Point, flex, rotate. Let's get some nice movement here. Maybe pull the leg in a little closer. Both knees to your chest, hands under the knees, rock forward and back, or however you'd like to come up to seated. Okay, how are we doing? So let's go ahead and move to hands and knees. Nice tabletop pose. And as you find your tabletop pose, have your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, rooting through the palms. Take an inhale, pull your chest forward, and then exhale, round your spine, cat-cow. Inhale, chest pulls forward. Exhale and round. One more. Inhale, heart forward. Wide shoulders, belly lifts in. Exhale and round. And this time we can bring our toes together, shift back into child pose. You'll leave the arms extended in front of you and active. So spread wide through the fingers. You can glance up as if it's going to be down dog arms, even though we're still in our child's pose. And then we're going to do what I call cupcake hands. So you're going to come up onto the pads of the fingers and imagine that you're trying to hide a big, tall, frosted cupcake underneath your palm. So we don't want to get any of that icing on our hands. So see if you can just use your fingertips like geckos, grip into the mat, create a nice hollow space under your palm. You can let your forehead relax once you think you've got it. And feel this idea of pulling the chest forward and drawing the arm bones back. So I'll refer to these cupcake hands a few different times today. Couple more breaths. And then you can just plant your palms back down. We're setting up for down dog. Come up hands and knees. And then just tuck your right toes under on the mat. Press back through the heel. Take a moment here. Lift your navel towards your belly button. Raise your right leg up to the height of the hip and spin up from the inner right thigh so it levels the back. Keep drawing the navel in and out. Left arm reaches forward, thumb up like you want to give a handshake. Take an inhale. Exhale, drive elbow and knee together, crunch in. Inhale, reach forward and back. Exhale, elbow and knee together. Inhale, reach it back. Couple more on your own. Exhale and inhale. This next one, as we crunch in, set your hand down and bring your foot forward into a lunge, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. You can move the left knee back, maybe pat it if you need, and then inhale, the arms rise. Again, right elbow under left, eagle arms, or give yourself a hug if this feels extreme at all in the shoulders. Take a few moments here. See if you can let the front ribs descend down and that pubic bone lift up so you feel this a little bit more in your core. Scissor the legs together to feel stable. Inhale, lift the chest almost like it's a cat-cow. And then exhale, curl in. Let's see if you can really keep your legs stable so you don't lose your balance. Inhale, lift the heart and fingertips, but go slow, no rush. Exhale, curl in. Really go slow to use the abdominals. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Great. You can release the hands down. Hinge back, pick up the front toes, and find Ardha Hanumanasana, half forward splits. So if you have blocks, you can use them, but let's see if we can use those cupcake hands. So creating that nice pocket of space under the hands. Dig the right heel into the mat, isometrically drag it back as you pull your chest forward. All right, take another breath. Shift forward and bring that front knee back, tabletop. Okay, we'll do side two. So tuck the left toes under on the mat, drive back through the heel, pull the navel in, and as you get nice and stable through the right shin, raise the left leg up to the height of the hip, spin up from the inner thigh. Pubic bone to navel. When you're ready, reach the right arm forward, thumb up, and you can always stay here. Take an inhale. Exhale, elbow and knee together, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, together. Inhale, extend. 3 more on your own. All right, now on this third one, as you come in together, the hand can drop down. Step the left foot next to the left thumb tip, adjust the back knee as you need, and rise, Anjaneyasana. Left arm under right, eagle arms, or give yourself a hug. Take a few moments here. Drag the knee and the heel together, isometrically squeeze those thighs. Inhale, lift the heart and fingertips. Exhale, slowly curl. See how much you can curl in control. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, round the spine. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Release, hands down. Hinge back, Ardha Hanumanasana. Have the toes come up, and again, see if you can do these cupcake hands or take care of you. If it makes more sense to use hands on a block, that's fine. So dig the heel into the mat, drag that heel back isometrically, chest forward. Okay. Shift yourself forward and bring that front knee back. Hands to the floor. Take an inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. And pedal the feet out, take a few moments here. And then just settle into your pose. It's nice to sort of see where you're starting from. How do you feel in this first moment? And then high to the toes. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop, top of the mat. Take an inhale, come up halfway. Maybe you're up on your fingertips. Exhale and fold. Root to rise. Inhale, the arms reach to the sky. Palms press to the top, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, Surya Namaskara, Sun Salute. So arms are by your sides. Take an inhale, arms rise, palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees on the way down. Inhale up halfway, chest forward. Exhale, step to plank and pause. So spread wide through the fingers. Widen through the collarbones. Chest forward, heels back. Navel in and up. Tip forward in toes or knees. Lower halfway chaturanga. Can you hold 2 breaths? 1, 2. Lower all the way down. Inhale, lift your heart into cobra, low cobra. And lower it back down. Keep your feet rooted. Inhale, lift your heart, navel in and up. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the heart. You can stay here at any time. This can become upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Your hands are shoulder width apart, feet are hip width apart. As you spread wide through your fingers, root through the inner hands. Let your biceps, your inner upper arms spin forward, wrap your triceps back. Inner thighs spin back. We'll take another breath. Inhale, high to your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Come up halfway, chest forward. Maybe you can come up onto fingertips. Exhale and fold. Root to rise. Inhale, arms reach to the sky. Palms up, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, round 2. Inhale, arms reach. Utthita Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Some of you exhale, jump to Chaturanga. Otherwise, step like I am to plank. Lower to Chaturanga. Inhale is your back bend of choice. Exhale, downward facing dog. This can always be child's pose. Take care of you. 5 breaths. High to the toes. Bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway, chest forward. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, reach the arms to the sky, palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, how we doing? 3 more on your own. Surya A. If you don't know it, just make it up. We'll meet your 3rd downward facing dog. When breath stops, movement stops. Make it a moving meditation. And if you have any injuries today or any reason that jumping back or even doing the vinyasa is not for you, just skip it. You can meet us in down dog. Three to 5 breaths in each down dog. Two more rounds. All right, we have one more round. We meet in our next downward facing dog. All right, so make your way to down dog if you're not already there. And we're simply going to walk our hands back towards our heels, forward fold at the back of the mat. Keep your feet hip width. Bend your knees enough that your chest is dropping against the thighs. And for right now, just grab onto the elbows and hang. Switch the clasp. As you release your hands, bend your knees, drop your seat, stay low, bring your arms up and find your chair pose, Utkatasana. So shift your weight back, lift your navel in and up, and then can you cross right elbow under left, eagle arms again, or give yourself a hug. Inhale, lift the heart and fingertips. Exhale, fold over your bent knees, armpits over the knees. Take a moment. Let your hands clasp for opposite ankles. Look up on an inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Use your hands to pull you in, Uttanasana. Bend your knees, drop your seat, chair pose, Utkatasana. Left arm under right, eagle or your variation. Lift the heart, inhale. Exhale, slot armpits over knees. Reach for opposite ankles, look up, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Release the hands, walk forward, down dog. And take an inhale, raise the right leg up halfway. Exhale, step it next to the right thumb. Anchor the back heel down as you rise, warrior one. And then open to the left, warrior two. And make sure to lengthen your stance as well. A lot of times we don't, we sort of go from 1 to 2 without adjusting the feet. So I took my stance wider and made sure the front heel intersects the back arch. So sink into your lunge. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Maybe look over the backhand, just change your perspective. See something from a new point of view. All right, straighten the right leg. Keep a little bend in the front knee, micro bend. Maybe no one else could see it. Reach forward, set yourself up for triangle pose, Trikonasana. So right hand comes down to the floor or block. Top arm reaches higher wherever you're comfortable with it. I'm going to keep hand on hip today. So see if you can shift more weight to the front big toe. Maybe you're coming onto these finger pads, but don't worry if you're not. You can always place your hand on your shin or block. And then look ahead. Bend your right knee. Move your right hand forward about a foot with or without that block. Maybe you're in those finger pads, your cupcake hands as you lift into Ardha Chandrasana. Spin the left inner thigh back. Open the heart up. Maybe that top arm reaches. Mindfully step back, warrior two. Okay. Inhale, reverse. Exhale to the floor. Step to plank, top of your push-up. Yogi's choice, vinyasa, a set of push-ups, or skip it and go right to down dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step it next to the left thumb tip. Boost the back foot up as you rise, warrior one. Open to the right as you adjust the feet, warrior two. Couple breaths here. Straighten up the left leg. Kick the hips back. Start to reach. Lean forward. Left hand can either be on the shin, floor, or block, but maybe you're in those cupcake hands. And that right hand is up to you. I'm going to just match what I did on the first side, hand on hand. Couple breaths. All right, looking down, bend your front knee, move that left hand forward with or without a prop. Again, maybe you're trying more of these cupcake hands today. Spin the right inner thigh back. Open your heart. Maybe top arm high. Mindfully step it back, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale to the floor. All right, step it back, yogi's choice. Vinyasa, set of push-ups or right to down dog, or you can always add in a child's pose. This time is about you. All right, couple breaths here. Down dog or child's pose, whatever makes sense for you. All right, from down dog, inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, step it next to the right thumb tip. Now boost the back foot up. Take a moment here. Set your feet up for warrior one, but we're going to stay low. Right elbow, right inside of the right knee, palms together in this sort of eagle pose. Again, squeezing the elbow and the knee together in your warrior one. And then come on up, warrior one. Sink into your lunge. Find your breath. Let's just come up onto the back toes so it's easier to turn that left leg forward, that back leg forward. Inhale here. Exhale. As you start to fold the upper body, pull the navel in. Look forward, and let's see if we can do this, myself included. Tip forward, launch forward, warrior three, but try to keep the eagle arms if you can. Couple of breaths, find your drishti. Now keep the arms as you stand. Can you sweep the back leg around the front? Sit into your chair, knee over knee, maybe tuck foot behind calf, and find eagle pose. Now keep the arms, one last time. Step the left foot wide so you're in a hip width chair again. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, fold. Slot armpits over knees. Let the hands go. Gaze up. You can clench your palms in the ground. Lift your heels. Gaze forward. Maybe that's it. If you want, lift your feet. Look ahead. Maybe you shoot it back into chaturanga. Or maybe you just step back. However you want to arrive. Okay, how do we do? So find down dog. Couple of breaths. Take a great big inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and let it out. One more like that. All right, left leg lifts, inhale. Exhale, step your foot next to the left thumb tip. Boost the back foot up. Take a moment here. Sink a little deeper into the lunge. Setting up for warrior one, but we're going to stay as we are. Left elbow inside of the knee. Right arm on top. Find your warrior or your eagle arms rather. And then rise slowly. Sink into your lunge. Find your breath. All right, come up onto the back toes. Sink into your lunge. Inhale, exhale as you start to fold. Take your time. Gently shift forward, launch forward, lift up the back leg, warrior three. Breathe. Back leg wraps around the front as you come to stand. Bend your knee, sink into your hips, find your eagle pose. Right foot hip width, find your chair, lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, fold, slot armpits over the knees. Hands to the ground, gaze up, heels lift maybe. Shift forward. If you're interested, pick up the feet for Bakasana. Shoot it back, or find your way to downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, step it to the center of the hands. Turn to the left, and all 10 toes face the side wall. You can stay where you are, but I'm gonna bring myself on up. Okay, so you're facing the side wall. Your legs are a little split. We just wanna get into the hamstrings a little bit more. So turn the toes in ever so slightly. Hug the outer ankles in, feel the side hips get really strong. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. You can keep hands on hips. Here, some of you I know like tripod headstands. You're welcome to take that. Or maybe you take your hands and reach between your legs and just try to come up onto your finger pads. So reach back behind you. Fingers point away from you as you find your pose, and use this as a rest pose. All right, gaze up halfway. Turn to the right. Step into down dog. Let's take an inhale and raise the right leg up. Exhale, step it next to the right thumb tip. All right, we're gonna see if we can pull a lot of this together. So straighten both legs, shorten the stance. So you're in Parsvottanasana. As you pull your chest forward, find length. And you might stay here. You might have your hands on the floor or blocks, possibly with these cupcake hands. Scissor the inner thighs together, chest through. Couple breaths here. Now consider folding closer. Forehead towards the shin. And then like we did with that split leg stretch a moment ago, can you walk your hands back? Fingertips facing behind you. Forehead towards the shin. Couple of breaths, settle in, see if you can just really find this pose. You can stay here, or really root into those finger pads, lift your chest, bend your back knee, and see if as you press into your feet, you can lift your foot. The left foot in, find your breath. Maybe you can find your fallen flamingo. Step the foot back, or however you'd like to arrive. Take your right leg, sweep it up, down dog. Open up the hip, bend the knee, push the foot behind you, or maybe flip the dog. All right, let's do that on side two. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step it next to the left thumb tip. Take a moment, boost that back foot up, anchor in, chest forward. Do all that you need here to get into your pose. Take your time, folding inward, no rush. The elbows bend, maybe walk those hands behind you, fingertips face your back foot. Forehead melts towards your shin. I'm not sure where you were on side one, but for me, side two is definitely not my happy hamstrings. They're not quite as open. So in a moment, we'll see where I end up and maybe where you end up in this pose. All right. So really root through the finger pads. Lift your chest. This may be plenty. For me today, this really feels like enough. So as you root through that front foot and you push into the fingertips, can you start to bend the back knee and just get light on it? Push into the palms, lift the hips, lift the heart, and then maybe you can lift that back leg. And set it back down. Whew, how did we do? Okay, hands forward, down dog, sweep that left leg high, open up the hip, maybe flip the dog, depending on your space, of course. All right, flip it back over, downward facing dog. Knees to the floor, tailbone to the heels. Well-deserved child's pose. All right, go ahead and roll yourself up. Move the feet out from underneath you. You can shift yourself about midway forward on your mat. And just sit up on your sit bones, hands underneath your knees. Hop onto your toes, lift your chest. And then just take your feet into this nice little mini boat. Arms are out, find your breath. Really use the abdominals to pull the knees in. Couple more breaths. Cross shin in front of shin. Hug those legs in. It's always nice to do both sides, so just take a look which shin went in front for you. Set yourself up. So for me it was left, so I'll have to remember to have right in front. Take a moment, just a little boat, just enough to sort of lift the navel in, pull the chest in. This is sort of what we've been doing all practice. Cross shin in front of shin, opposite one if you can remember. Give yourself a nice hug. And release. All right. Set your feet down, knees bent, hands on your shins. Sit up tall, lift the chest. Take your fingertips, face them towards you, but slide them back. We've sort of been doing this, but usually the fingers face behind. Let the fingers face you. And then drop down through the heels of the hands, shimmy the shoulders back, lift your chest. Take a couple of breaths. Now this may be plenty, or if you want, you can lift your hips into an upward facing table. Now maybe look down your nose, or if you look up, really try to roll the shoulders back, collarbones wide, and try to avoid just releasing the head back. And gently release. All right, legs are in front of you, Dandasana, hands by your sides, sit tall, find your breath. Fingertips slide back, they face you again. Draw down through the heels of the hands, shimmy the shoulders back, lift the chest, point the toes. Now this may feel like more than enough, or lift the hips, point the toes, upward facing plank, Purvottanasana. Maybe your toes can touch the floor. Tailbone reaches to the back of the knees. Same thing with the head. Be conscious. And slowly release. Okay, so let's find our way to our back. We'll do, so we'll start our yin poses, but we will add a bridge in there first. And I will use a timer on my phone for the yin postures. So I'll use a timer from an app inside timer, so it'll have a nice bell for us. So if you have any props like a block or anything, that should be all we need, or a blanket, grab it. Come into your back. Let's take bridge first. We've sort of done this really nice work for bridge. So your feet are inner hip width, arms by your sides. Grab the edges of the mat. Walk the arms underneath you. Lift the hips, root evenly through the feet. Really try to keep those legs in a nice parallel inner hip width. Maybe interlace the hands. Gaze at the ceiling versus trying to look at the monitor. Protect your neck. Try to hug the inner thighs together. And feel like you're trying to drag your heels back towards you. We've done a lot of stretching of hamstrings. Let's give them a little bit of work now and stretch the hip flexors. And then soften the hands and the hips, lower down. Let the knees fall into one another. Give yourself a moment. Okay, one more. So take a bridge. It can be active or supported. Some of you I know like other back bends. That's fine. So lift yourself up. Find your breath. And release. All right, nice job, yogis. So whatever you have available, maybe it's a block or a prop, slide it into the pelvis like your bridge, and take your feet to the ceiling. Now, if you have an inversion practice, there's something you'd like to do, like headstand, and you feel confident that on your own, you're welcome to do that. Or you can even do legs up the wall or on a chair. So whatever is available and appropriate for you. Just taking a few moments here. We get into our yin postures here in a moment. We'll do the first couple postures for 2 minutes each. And we may eventually add time, depending on how we're feeling. There's another 5 or 6 breaths in this pose. Bend your knees from the supported bridge. Hold on to your right knee. Lower your left leg down, just like that Ekapada Apadasana. There we go, one-legged pose. See if we can do that here. Maybe you're on a support of a back bend. So if this block is not for you, you can have a bolster or something underneath. And you can experiment. Maybe you want more or less height, depending on how warm you are, how your back feels. You can always remove the prop if this feels like too much. So this will be our first yin pose, and so we'll be here for 2 minutes. And yin is about target area and a little less about specific pose. So we spend a lot of time stretching the hamstrings, so our target area right now is stretching the hip flexors on the front of the thigh. So if this is not for you, for your lower back, there's lots of different ways you can get into this. You can take a low lunge, you can windshield wiper the knees on your back, you can do King Arthur at the wall. So just find something that's not this pose that gets a nice stretch across the front of that left thigh. And if this is for you, explore. Do you want to float that bottom foot? How else can you get into your pose just a little bit more deeply? Notice your breath. And feel how the body is starting to unwind. All those areas that were strong and warm to get you into your poses. The core, the abdominals, the hip flexors. Allow them to unwind now. Release. Our last couple breaths. Okay, so slowly switch sides, no rush. You might even pause and a little bridge in between. Otherwise, the left leg comes in, the right leg straightens, or it doesn't. Whatever version of this pose you want. And we're here for 2 minutes again. So for me, I really like the timer. It sort of has this feeling of being safe. You know that there's an end point to the pose. If you're doing this on your own and you don't want to use a timer, you can always just count the breath and just have it be the same amount of breaths on each side. But sometimes when we count the breath, we may get distracted. Our breath may change its pattern. And so the timer is nice because it's always the same. We know that that time, even though it feels different, it's not subjective. It's always the same. That should last 4 breaths or so. Okay, so set your feet down onto the floor, knees are bent, and I'm going to give you a few options for this next pose. So some of you will stay on this block. For me, it's a little extreme, but some of you I know really like this version, so I'm going to teach it. So from this block, and I just lowered mine down, soles of the feet are together in butterfly, and then you just gently set your feet down. And so sort of gravity helps to open up your hips in this way. So again, your hips are lifted, the knees are open in butterfly. Another version, one that feels a little better in my body, is placing those blocks or bolster under the feet and allowing that to open you. Now, if neither of these are for you, any version of butterfly is fine. So it may just be a seated version, traditional butterfly, or however you'd like. We're here 3 minutes, so that can help you to decide which one makes the most sense for you. We're adding a minute. And so yin is challenging in a different way. It's allowing us to really activate our meditative mind. And so where we might just want to sort of jump out of these poses like the real work is done, this is where we do real work. We stay present. We listen to those subtle signals that the body is giving us. And let's see if we can use the breath to just stay really present. And so we're going to count the breath like we're counting sheep, not to fall asleep, but to pay attention and see when we wander off. So as you take an inhale, say to yourself 1. As you exhale, say to yourself 2. Inhale 3. Exhale 4, and so on. And see where you get to. If you get distracted by my voice, by your thoughts, by any sensation in the body, notice it, observe it, don't get too involved, and then start back over at 1. You've got about 90 seconds to play with that counting of the breath. Train the meditative mind. Alright. Take a mental note. What number did you get to before you forgot or got distracted? Guide the knees together whether you were on your back or not. And then if you're on your back, go ahead and find your way up to seated. And maybe some of you might have a blanket or something to have a seat on. Again, that's just personal preference and what's available. But we're going to take ourselves and cross middle of the shins, so Sukhasana. So if I pull the legs all the way close to me, you'll see that I'm crossing at the ankles. It's more like the legs are in a heart. But if you take the legs further away from you, you cross middle of the shin, flex the feet. It's like you're trying to line up the knees over the feet. It's more of a box. So we're going to be in this square pose. Some of you might eventually take this to double pigeon. It's not a pose I do often without props, so we'll see where I get. So Sukhasana, double pigeon, or you can always do thread the needle or single pigeon, but we're going to stay with our 3 minutes. I'll give you a halfway point. You can sit up tall, you can fold forward, whatever makes sense for you. And just notice what came up for you in your practice. Is your jaw tight? Can you relax it? What about behind the eyes? In a moment, I'll give you sort of a halfway point in this pose, that 1.5 minute mark again. And if you counted your breath the last cycle, maybe try again, and you can compare and see either if you were able to stay with your breath longer, or maybe even just distracted less. Okay, 90 seconds left. Maybe follow your breath, or maybe take it to a more challenging version of the pose, like double pigeon. If you lost your breath, come back. All right, how'd you do? So whatever leg is in front or on top, go ahead and switch it. So the other leg in front or on top, Sukhasana again. I laugh every time I do this pose. So Sukha is easy or comfort. Timer has started. So technically this is supposed to be easy pose or comfort pose, but literally every time I get into it, it does not feel like that. So I think we can rename it. Again, find your pose. I'll give you that halfway point again if you decide to either make changes or count the breath. It's easy for the mind to get distracted. If it does, just notice where it goes, create a label with it. You might say, oh, there I am, I'm planning again, I'm in the future. Oh, I'm in the past. As soon as there's a label, there's a separation. You're not quite as involved. You have 90 seconds left, so count the breath again, or take your deeper variation of the pose. right, well done. So we'll end here by taking our legs out to the sides. So a nice split leg stretch. And you can sit on your blanket if you'd like, or have another blanket under your knees. Oftentimes, I tend to lock out my knees, I hyperextend. So having a second blanket is really nice. What you can do with this is if you have a blanket or even just some hand towels, you can roll them up. I roll this up the long way so that it is long enough. You may not even need that much of a roll, but just enough to go under both knees. So this is an option if that works for you. Find your pose. If you have a wall, you can do legs at the wall and split. And this will be our final yin pose, and then we'll move into Shavasana. But this is a longer pose. We're here 4 minutes. So this is our longest pose yet. And so in these longer holds, don't go too deep too fast. Don't go to that deepest expression of the pose for you. You'll find your body resisting or fighting back, a little less able to stay present and calm. It isn't fully restorative. We are looking for some sensation, but just not so much sensation we're in pain or discomfort, but just enough that we can sort of breathe through that edge, around that edge. I'll give you a halfway mark. We have about another minute. I was having a discussion with some teacher training students yesterday, and one of the things we noticed is that we don't necessarily gravitate towards what gives us balance. So if you're a type A personality, you probably really like vinyasa and want to run away from yin. You don't want these slower, more mindful practices. Or maybe yin is your practice and that's sort of your lifestyle, sort of moving slower, more methodically, and the vinyasa is not really for you. But balance is cultivated in the opposite. Halfway through, so you have 2 minutes left. And that's really all that yoga is this union of opposites. Sun, moon, hot, cold, masculine, feminine, inhale, exhale, expansion, contraction. So if we spend all of our time doing and not as much time in the undoing, sort of the being, we are not in balance. About a minute left, 60 seconds. Your last few breaths. Okay, we've been here a little while, so move slow. Manually guide those legs back. And then if you're missing a pose or something you'd really like to take for you before Shavasana, go for it. It might be a little happy baby or Apanasana, knees to the chest. So give yourself a few moments to do those finishing poses and we'll get set up for Shavasana. Doing a makeshift bolster here just because I'm too lazy to grab the one I got. But I've got some blocks, nice and flat. I'm going to use my blanket on top of that. So our Shavasana will be 3 minutes. I'm going to use the timer, that way we all can just relax and not worry about the time. Okay. So once you've done what you need, put yourself into Shavasana. With the eyes closed. And see if you can feel the body no longer as a left and a right or front and a back. Moving deeper, backing off, moving slower. Everything has just been this balance, this union of opposites. Feel your body now as a whole being. All of those opposites have found their balance, their union. Shavasana. Begin to move fingers and toes. Inhale the arms overhead, maybe you yawn. Bend your knees, make your way to your side. You can press yourself up to your final seat. Hands to your heart, a moment of gratitude for all this time and effort you've put into you today. Let's lift our hearts and bow our heads. Namaste.